Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Johnny Davis Live. We're here on this Friday, October the 18th, 2024. So happy to see everyone out there in Facebook land today. I should say YouTube land because that is actually where we're streaming from on my YouTube channel, Johnny Davis Live. So if you want to have people check this out live, they can certainly go there. Also, it will be recorded on my Facebook page. It'll be up a little bit later today. As you can see on the screen, we have a couple of things going on. We have a couple of guests that we're looking forward to speaking to. We have Mr. Jonathan Donation, who will be on today, who is going to be in one of our ICAF super fights. He's out of Durham, North Carolina. And then we are looking forward to also speaking with Mr. Ben Wachacha, who actually lives or used to live at least on the reservation there in Cherokee. And now he's going to test his skills in the ring next Saturday at Harris Cherokee Casino, October 26th, where you can see him compete against another young man there. Should be a great, great battle there. But as you can see on the screen, we have a couple of things coming up, guys. Obviously, our IKF Fall Classic next weekend. We're asking you to come out and check out that event. It's going to be a fun and exciting show. It's going to be a great relief as well for, all the stuff that's been going on over here. I talked to you a little bit about my trip there, earlier in the week and what that was about. But it's actually going to be an exciting event, something very different, something very unique for that area. I don't think they've had a fighting event there in like 10, 12 years or something like that. Don't know why. I have no, I don't know. I have no clue. But, I know that we're going to be there on October 26th, and it's going to be a great event. We have right now in the morning, it looks like it's going to be around 30 some fights. In the evening, it looks like we're going to be, having somewhere around, well, it's going to be 16 fights, but they're title fights. So a lot of those fights are 5-round fights. Oh my gosh, lights, camera, food. Live DJ. It's going to be so much fun. I believe people are going to be like, what? Las Vegas in Cherokee. All right. So I hope you get your tickets. Or if you can't make it out there, be sure to check it out on our live streaming channel at akplive.com. So we have a lot of ways for you to check it out. Also, I want to remind everyone that's coming up on December. We're going to be right back at it in December for our Winter Classic, where it's a similar tournament. But, I say it's a Winter Classic, but ultimately what it is the Winter Classic, but it's a one-day tournament, right? So people, I say 6 and 7, but all the registration and things like that are going to take place on the 6th. Registration, say weight exams, physicals, and stuff like that. But all the fighting is going to take place on the 7th, just like this event this time. So we will even cut off registration just to make that happen, just in case we have a great turnout. So go ahead and get registered for that on the iCareFightPlatform.com. There's also going to be semi-contact and full contact at that event, including the PBSC Point Boxing sparring event as well. It is a great opportunity to come out there and get in some great sparring, some great fights. It's another way to move our champions forward, who perhaps win this coming weekend, next weekend. Those who win titles, we're going to be looking for them to come back and defend if they're healthy. And after that, we're going to move them up again in March for our next show, and then again in May for our next show, and again in August for our next show, and then again in October. So we're going to keep moving, and each time these fighters will be able to move up. So if you want to cut your teeth in our organization, we hope that you will go ahead and get registered now for the December event in case you did not make it for the event next week. Most of those fighters who did not get a fight will be rolled over to the Winter Classic and all. But, you would have to go ahead and register. You need to contact us for that process, and then we will credit you for that event. But anyway, we're looking for an exciting event there again at Harris Casino on December 6th and 7th. And again, I hope you guys will certainly register for that. We're going to get this area really hot and kicking for fight sports. Okay, moving right along, I'm going to now talk a little bit about, before I bring up my first guest who's waiting there in the lobby, a little bit about the ICAF Fall Classic that's coming up next weekend, and then I will move on and chatting with these great champions here. All right. So again, guys, 16 fights. You see those guys on the screen right now. It's going to be a great, great event on Saturday night, October 16th. Right. Those are match fights. These guys are fighting 5 rounds. We have freestyle kickboxing, full rule, Muay Thai. We have modified Muay Thai. We have a little bit of everything going on for that evening. These guys have been training really, really hard. We even have some little kids in there, 5, 6, oh, it's not 5 and 6, but I think they're like 10, 11 years old, all the way up to teenagers, all the way up to adults. These people are fighting, many of them, at least 8 of them are fighting for certified IKF titles. You can look on the background of my screen and see what some of those belts, beautiful belts, are going to look like. And all. And so plan to check that out. We have a couple of VIP tables as well. If you want to get those, go to the IKFFightPlatform.com and get a table. Right? We only have a few. We're also still offering 20 seats to first responders. That is an offer complimentary to anyone who's worked directly with FEMA or other first responders for the storms that we've been dealing with over here. So that is our AKP gift to you. Also, the casino is going to be doing some things as well. So you can contact us at johnnyD@akpromotions.org and put your name on the list, and we'll be more than happy to have you come out and enjoy that event as well. Remember, too, that we will have the IKF Point Muay Thai and Kickboxing sparring going on in the other gym. We hope you guys will sign up for that, as well as the PBSC Point Boxing Sparring Tournament that will also be a part of that event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, see this young man right here waiting patiently in the lobby there. It's a young man who I've had the opportunity to speak with before and everything. And so now we're going to bring him up on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, he's here on Johnny Davis Live. Give it up for Jonathan Donation.
I appreciate it,
How you doing, sir?
Thank you. I like the intro. I really appreciate
it. Make you want to punch somebody in the face, right?
You got my blood kind of flowing a bit.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the idea. I want to get you going just a little bit, man. How have you been, man?
I've been good. I appreciate this opportunity. I know you remember me back from like the earlier PKB days, and I love what you do. I support it. It's been a great platform for me. I do reiterate that to a lot of peers around me, teammates, people that are interested in joining, getting the experience themselves, whether they want to compete, whether they're just doing it for a hobby, or they just want to spectate. So I do appreciate this opportunity. Kind of
build our way. I'm curious though. Did you actually start at the PKB?
I started, PKB, yep.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that, because I mean that's really interesting to me. Tell me what that journey was like for you. I mean, how did it get started for you?
Well, during the time when I was when I first started off at the gym over at United, I was I kind of just came into just training just to stay in shape, exercise. I always had a competitive spirit with the past sports I did. During that time, I was doing some BJJ through Gracie University. Right. And then when I found out about the Muay Thai around in the Durham area, I kind of jumped on it. And as I'm training, I was told about these point sparring tournaments, which I never heard of before. And I thought about, well, that does give me an opportunity to see whether or not, am I going to take it serious? Do I want to keep moving on? Because just like everybody else, I was thinking about the knockout. I'm like, man, do I want to get knocked out? Do I want to take these type of injuries? So I felt like that was a good starter point for me to, figure out what I would do. And then I did one PKB, and I was like, oh, probably that's it. And then I did another and another and another. And then by that time, from the coach's decision, they were like, oh yeah, we think you're ready for amateur. So it was a smooth transition, because you were already.
Tell me about, go into it a little bit more about what that felt like the first day after you trained a little bit, and the fact that you're looking at another person that you're getting ready to compete against. Give me a little bit more of a feeling that you might have had for that first event.
Yeah, nervous. It was always that nervous feeling that I did take the training serious. We prepped for it. Even though to some people they may say, oh, it's just a PKB, that's really on the fighter's choice, whether if you want to take it serious or not, or you see it as a hobby. Me, I felt like we should prep, because I didn't know what was lying ahead for me. So I said, you know what, let me take this serious. Was pretty much had a fight camp for myself.
Right.
So everything was running through my mind. I was nervous. I was hoping I would do well. I was hoping the technique that I learned would emulate on the mat, on the stage,
Right.
and going into it, seeing the prep for it, seeing how you set each matchup, whether I wanted to do modified, whether I wanted to do try full or unified. I felt like, okay, well, of course during the PKBs you can't throw elbows, so I said, since I'm doing Muay Thai, I want to do as much of what I am doing in my training as I can. So went into the modified rule set. Again, I was nervous, especially knowing who during that time with the PKBs, you set up the matchmaking. We would literally sit in the crowd with the person we're going to be trading shots against.
Right.
So, I'm looking across, he's looking across. I'm thinking like, okay, but I got love for the sport. I got respect for all the fighters that's competing. So, of course, my goal was to get the W. So, I'm like, I'm not going to take it lightly because my opponent's not going to take it lightly.
Right.
It's the Clash of the Titans type of deal. So it was definitely.
What do you think you learned most after your first outing in the PKB?
Patience. Not dumping the tank. Even going into my amateur, that kind of happened because I was, with the nervousness building up. You're like, okay, do I need to land first? How should I? Like, you're always thinking, what am I going to throw first?
Right.
What am I going to do first when we walk across? And of course, anytime we come to the refs, we bow down. And during that time, that's when you start to feel your heart rate start to slow down. You're like, okay, I'm in it now, And with the safety precautions, it gave me some comfortability as well. Like, okay, we got headgear, shin guards, the 16-ounce gloves.
Wow.
So, but still, you're going to feel a little something from your opponent. So, points not power, but it's still the name of the game.
That's kind of ingrained there, huh?
Yeah, it's ingrained in me. Yep. So it felt pretty good, going in and after the fight, learning from what I learned from the coaches on just being more patient, taking my time as I step in, and most importantly, listening to your corner, because those PKBs, it could get rowdy, it could get loud with parents and teammates cheering you on. You got to remain focused and make sure you're listening to the corner. So it was definitely patience for me, and just like I said, I have a background in sports prior, so always being a machine and listening to the coaches is what I've always relied on.
Right. What would be your recommendation then to someone just kind of getting started out and all? Is there something obvious? It sounds like you would recommend that is the way, or do you think it's better just to go and jump into a full contact fight?
I mean, to each his own, but if someone is want to get advice from me, I said that's the way. Especially, I started off, I guess, pretty late. I started off like 30 years old doing the PKB. I'm 33 now. Right. So, at that point, I already kind of had some miles on my body from football and wrestling and track. So I'm like, let me see. That was just kind of putting my foot in the water. And then after that, at that point, I was used to doing like the PKBs. I did several. I can't remember exactly. Probably about like 7 or 8 PKBs. At that point, I was comfortable. I had a system. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how to prep for it. With the weight, with the matchmaking for the weight, it's some flexibility with the matchmaking for the weight. But at the same time, I still wanted to be like, again, for those that do want to take it serious into the amateur level or professional, I feel like that's the time. Piss poor preparation promotes piss poor performance. So definitely felt like, okay, let me see if I could deal with this routine. How can I, fixate into my regular life? Because, outside of this, I got a full-time job, a family. How can I coincide this thing with my life? So,
well, you talk about, full-time job and the family. How do you navigate your day with a full-time family and a job? I mean, just as an example.
It's support. I got support from, luckily my lady, she's fine with it. She enjoys it. With friends and family, the support is the best thing. Just being able to organize my schedule. Luckily, I have the opportunity to work from home with the job with who I'm working with now. So that during COVID, that was, I felt like everything happened for a reason. I am a believer, so I do feel like, God did lay certain paths in front of me that I had to take advantage of. And, from working from home, I am able to, get in my 2 a days, whether it's working out in the morning at the gym.
Mm.
By the time I get off, I go, well, I just had a son last year. So that kind of
Oh,
just did a
wow.
whole 360.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So a whole 360 just flipped. So now getting this involved, picking them up from daycare, going to the gym, and
Right.
sometimes I take last night my son was in the gym with me, so I'm already planting that little seed in him as well. So yeah.
I think about when I hear that, and that's wasn't part of my questioning, but when I hear, your discipline and your commitment, it seems, to making sure that your son is in your life. How important is that to you? Because it seems that we have some guys out there who actually don't put that type of consideration into the importance of their roles in their, especially young boys' life.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so important to you? Did you have a situation that was different with you coming up?
Well, I was in a 2-parent household. My folks are they're from Haiti. So we came from a pretty strict household, but there was order, there was discipline, and the help of sports just in general gave me a path and a mindset that I could, run with outside of the gym, whether I could apply it in my life situations at work, like I said, I always like to say each one teach one. So, again, I'm 33. I feel like I still have some longevity for this, and I'm gonna push myself as far as I could go. But when that time does come, I want to pass it along to to the young men and women out there that are interested in doing this. So for me to have my son get into this, and this being my firstborn, I feel like this is a good structure for him, like
Right.
showing that you can't quit. Like it's those days, and I know every fighter could relate. During camp,
Yeah.
there's days where you just sit there in the gym and you're looking at the wall like, what the
Exactly.
hell am I doing here? Or why am I doing this? Or
Right.
what is this for? Whether you want to go to the UFC or whether you want to get into one championship or all of those big stages. We all have different goals in our life, but I feel like it all boils down to the same thing. But I just feel like it's important because I want that structure for my son. I want him to learn that discipline. I want him to learn that you got to earn your keep. Like stuff isn't just handed to you. Like, these fights isn't just handed to you. Like I had to bust my balls to get to this certified title fight. And, I felt like you and the rest of the commission of IKF definitely kept the track record of me seeing that, okay, we think it's time that he gets his. And again, I appreciate that, and I want my son to see that. He's 2 now, so of course he's just seeing people kicking and punching stuff, but I do already see the influence that I'm bringing upon him, because I see he grabs gloves, he's grabbing my pads, he's yelling "Oi!" He's anytime I'm yelling out a kick, he's throwing his little feet up. So I think it's a beautiful thing. To some people from the outside looking in, they may see it as a violent sport, but there's a culture behind this sport. There's, like you said, there's, especially with Muay Thai. I love the culture of Muay Thai, and any other, karate, taekwondo, any other sport, but Muay Thai stuck to me with just its history, how it was brought about in Thailand, and how it transitioned here in the U.S. and all through Europe, around the world, basically. So yeah,
well, I'm curious about as I look at your picture right here and everything, you look like you're in pretty good shape. And you seem to take your nutrition. In fact, I know you take your nutrition pretty seriously. And I think we had that conversation
last year.
Someone actually reminded me. I'm sorry. I talked to so many people, but I forgot. And they said, "Hey, you remember you talked to him before? When you were at the tournament, and you had like this kit, right?
You pulled me right aside too.
Right,
John, come here.
Yeah, you got to come here now, because I'm looking at this whole kit of stuff. And break down to me a little bit more. But first of all, again, in relationship to your childhood, your community, your neighborhood, and things that you witnessed around you as a child, was there some other things in your life? There's 2 ways to learn, right? You can learn from other people, or you can learn from your own, right? I say learn as much from other people as you can, because you're going to definitely learn from yourself, or at least you should. And were there things around you, perhaps an unhealthy environment in some cases, that made you so serious about your condition and nutrition today?
Yeah, of course. Originally from New Jersey. I was born in New York, raised in Jersey. So I got picked on growing up. Got bullied a lot. I did,
Mhm.
like I said, love my parents to death. I hope my mama ain't watching this, but they did used to beat me. I did, coming
Hey,
from that
that
household,
was the culture.
that was the culture,
I got
So
my look. I got my. Let me just break this down so you won't
yeah,
feel bad. I got my behind tore up many times with that switch,
yeah,
right,
you already
or
know
the
this.
belt, or whatever was near.
Whatever was near, switch, belt, whatever. So coming from that, I knew why, but I was a little knucklehead growing up, but
Yeah,
it was kind of, I was a bit stubborn, but getting picked on a lot when I was younger, being a scrawny kid. People used to
yeah.
make fun of my last name and everything of that sort, or make fun of my background of being of Haitian descent. So I had that
Hold on.
bearing.
Pause on that
Yes, sir.
because you just hit a political issue
Oh,
that's going on
yeah.
now,
Hmm.
and Johnny Davis Live, real talk.
Yeah.
This is the what I do.
Hmm.
Now there's been a lot of comments and stuff about the Haitian community here
Of
lately.
course.
And how does that make you feel? Being from that country,
Hmm.
and with comments that are being made about eating pets and all that. What
Well,
I mean, how does that make you feel
I mean,
as an
it,
American citizen?
yeah. Well, we dwell around ignorance. I always tell people they need to do their research first before they just, with these now, people see whatever they see and they want to believe it. Just jump right on it and believe it. Um, it honestly didn't bother me as much because I'm very proud of my culture. I'm proud of where I'm
Right.
from. If people
Yes.
want to go back and look at the history behind Haiti and why it's in the state it's in, why it's a third world country, call a spade for spade. We know the French took billions and billions from the country.
Yes.
First black independent country in
Yes.
1804 to gain its independence.
Right.
If you listen to the great Marcus Garvey or the honorable Noble Drew Ali,
Yes. Yes.
they speak many things about Haiti, great things about Haiti.
Yes.
Like I said, Marcus Garvey, when he was talking about the Black Star Enterprise, not only did he say let's voyage back to Africa, but he also mentioned voyaging back to Haiti because during
Hey,
that
yes,
time
it did.
Haiti
Right.
was already free.
Right.
They fought for their independence, blood, sweat, and tears. So of course, when the French got tired of their people getting killed, they're like, okay, you know what?
Right.
We're gonna back up
Right.
and we're gonna charge y'all a heavy fee.
Right.
In order to pay out a debt of this war, you got to pay this
Right.
amount of money. And
Right.
over the years, it's just been political turmoil after turmoil, bad decisions on governments, and the propaganda that laid around it.
Internal and external.
Exactly.
And
So
I call it what it is,
exactly.
internal and external. A lot of
Hmm.
people, oh, well, they did, but we
Yeah,
did too, right?
we did too.
And
Exactly.
and just so we have some guilt in the condition of that country today,
Right.
and all. But I think if people do go back and study history, and understand the richness of what it used to be, it's like
Hmm.
ancient Egypt and Kemet and
Of course.
Mesopotamia, those great civilizations, and they understand history and what happened. I think maybe people will take a different eye or have a different eye or insight on how things are the way they are today.
Hmm.
Right, it just didn't happen. There's a lot of pillage of the land and enslavement and all of those things that have happened that have caused a lot of those conditions. And to ignore that,
Mm.
right, is to ignore history as this reality, if you will.
Right.
And I think that is part of some of the issues that we deal with today. That a lot of people don't want to look at real history.
They
Right?
don't.
They want to avoid it. They want to cover it up. They want to put it, And to be honest with you, there's good and bad on all sides of this thing,
Of
right?
course.
And I think it's important for people to understand that. And if they do, I believe education is the key to understanding. There's no superior, inferior. People are equal, but
Hmm.
there's been inferior and superior situations, right, that
Hmm.
have put people in these type of things. Anyway, I digress because that's one of my subjects that's people don't know, but that's one of my subjects as well. But again, I kind of approach it with levity and fairness for all people, so that we can get along and love one another. But so talk a little bit about, as I put on the screen, your opponent there, Mr. Cody Noel. Do you know anything about him?
No, nothing about that brother right there. But I'm ready to bring it. I know
Got a pretty good record.
Yeah, I peeped it, and records, they're fine, but I always say you don't know who you fought. I'm a firm believer of that. I know we're still young in the amateur game, and I know he's gonna bring it, but I got something in my bag too that I'm willing to show the fans, show myself, show everybody what I could do, show the judges, and we're gonna make it a show. We're gonna bring it to them. I didn't. I seen he had like a MMA background. So he's been back.
He's coming rugged.
Yeah, I know he's coming rugged.
Anybody with an MMA, most of the MMA guys, when they come rugged.
Yeah, they come rugged, but I'm cut from a different cloth as well. I come from a rusty razor blade as well. So, I'm gonna bring my uniqueness, my style. I do bring more of a traditional Muay Thai style into the game, but with this new age now and these new developed top fighters, I do follow these pro fighters that we watch every week. And I definitely am getting influenced by most of the new coming fighters that we see nowadays, and hope to implement that into my game as well. So
who's your favorite fighter right now?
Woo, man, right now. Okay, I got to say more than one.
Okay,
so
cool.
as far as Muay Thai, I love Jonathan Haggerty, Super Bond.
Okay, stop right there now. Okay, so now, what did you think about what happened to him in his last fight? I mean, you think that was a fluke or just an accident and he just got caught? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I thought that he telegraphed too much. It was his rhythm step. Super leg, he studied. He did his homework. He's known for that hop in elbow or that hop in hook, that tie hop into a hook or an elbow.
Right.
And super leg. That's the level of IQ in the fight game. All that was just IQ right there.
Right.
That was just studying his game, what he does most, and super leg landed that elbow crisp.
I mean, Haggerty. By the way, I was there.
True.
Yeah. But Haggerty, man, he is no joke.
He's no joke.
He is a very, very good fighter. And stuff like that. So Haggerty's one. Keep going.
Yeah, I mentioned Super Bond. I love Super Bond style. I love his switch style from southpaw, orthodox, and the way he just throws his roundhouse kicks. And of course, I got to give big ups to I love the old golden age era guys. Your Sanchai, Liam Harrison. What's my brother's name right there? Black male. He was Danny Bill. Danny Bill.
Yeah.
He was
someone who I don't hear a lot about, but if you go and look up his name, I think you'll be impressed. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia. Manu Unto.
I've heard him. I'm always jumping on Google and Instagram and YouTube. Like, okay,
he was a little fighter, lightweight fighter. But I want you to go and check out. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia, over there.
Yeah,
and he was a beast. And he fought everybody. Manu, Manu, Ntoh.
Gotcha.
Check him out. He just comes to my mind and everything. And back in the day, I think a lot of young fighters don't know. He's like in that Danny Bill, era and all that. But this guy was bad, man. He was bad. So definitely check that out. Who else you got?
Oh, well, it was actually at one of your events, the one in Georgia where I fought in, probably like 2 years ago. Smoking Joe came through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was chilling in the crowd like a regular spectator. And then when I seen him after my fight, I was like, hold on. But he was so laid back, so cool. Sometimes I try not to fan too much.
Yeah.
First thing I had to ask him, I'm like, man, like, how do you feel like every time you go into a fight, win, lose, or draw? He's like, you go into it cool. He's like, you win, you do well, you party. You lose, keep your head up, you party. I was like, all right, yeah. Me, I kind of take my losses a bit personally. I don't know. So sometimes when I do try to not let it get to me, but I always think because obviously seeing my record 7-3, I felt like I've the time where
Right.
I really hit that plateau of really like winning fight after fight was from my losses. You know,
Right.
I learned best from my losses. I feel like sometimes people don't really learn from the wins. They're like, okay, I won, I did this, I mauled them, I mean, great, you know, great for you, great for me winning, taking the win. But it's the losses where I'm like, okay, what did I do that
That's
was like
exactly right.
that made me mess up? What did I do where I ended up with, you know, not winning the third round or not winning the second round?
Right.
Why they went to the decision of to the opponent. So definitely go back and study my film on that as well.
Right. That's awesome. Who do you think is your biggest inspiration in life?
Ooh, right now it's just my son, seeing my son, like seeing his face every day and knowing what I have to do to push myself, to have a better lifestyle for not
Yeah.
only for myself, but definitely for him. So, because I know my parents did what they had to do for me and my brothers,
Right.
so I want to do the same thing for him. But as far as like any adults around, it's like, you know, a lot of coaches I could name, you know.
Right.
I could say you're one of my inspirations, seeing what you've done,
Me?
because yeah, you know, just seeing a brother like yourself, you know, and
Thank
what
you.
you've done, how you build this organization.
Thank
I know you hear from everybody. You hear the good, the bad, the ugly.
you. Yeah.
And you know, you grind, you keep that personality, the smile on your face, like you don't, you let it just brush off at times. And
Yeah.
I see it. You know, I've been to PKBs, I've been to the amateur. I was a spectator before I started all this.
Right. Right.
My first fight that I went to go watch was in Myrtle Beach,
Oh
and
wow.
I sat in the crowd and I was just watching, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna put myself in this position
Oh
no
nice.
matter what, and try to get myself there. When you know, I'm gonna do the best I can. Of course, you know, my father. You know, I've never seen him give up. Always seeing him just bust his balls to get where he has to get to.
Right.
But you know, I'm trying to take it to another level. You know, I'm
Yes.
not just gonna sit here and say yes to the man every time and just take my paycheck. Like, this fight game for me is something that I didn't expect. It just, like I said, it happened during COVID, and you know, I pray every day. You know, I'm a man of faith, so I felt like, okay, if and I always ask above, like, look, Lord, if you could give me the opportunity to stay healthy, stay clean, I will do my best, and I'll put myself in the best position that I can, you know, because I had challenges, you know, especially when I was in college. You know, I was one of them college students, you know, drinking,
Mhm.
smoking, getting all time, you know, getting into trouble back in high school. You know, I fought a lot growing up, so I thought violence was the answer. Anytime I got picked on, I said, you know what, I'm gonna handle it. You know,
Right.
so being around my coaches, one of my wrestling coaches back home in Jersey, and being back in Kannapolis.
Right.
I think my opponent is actually from Kannapolis. He's from my hometown,
Oh, okay.
actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, oh, oh.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I do want to ask you, and I wrote it. I put it up on the screen there when you mentioned about your faith. You know, again, you'll hear me on this my show all the time when people bring up their faith. I don't get into it all the time,
right,
but I do wonder sometimes because you know I think a little bit different than I used to think. You know about that particular thing. But when you, how do you use your faith to empower you? Is it, and when I say that, meaning that is it like an allegory type thing that you're believing in, or you're asking for strength within, or you're asking from strength from outside of yourself? I'm just trying to, when people use the word faith, I'm just trying to break that down just a
right.
little bit more and how you see it. And I have a couple more minutes with it because well, Chacha didn't come on, so I got a few more
Hey,
minutes with you.
we
So
could keep it rolling. Yeah.
we'll just keep it rolling.
We
We'll
keep it
dig.
rolling. Yeah, and I appreciate you asking me that. And it could be it's different for a lot of people, you know. I don't rely on just one, you know. I feel like that's separation. I feel like divide and conquer is never the way. Um, I like to study all aspects of religion and spirituality, whether, you know, with getting into Muay Thai, you know, I've been to Buddha temples. I go to a
Mm,
temple in Chapel Hill,
mm,
just to, you know, find myself and to figure out what's next for me. I know a lot of people, when they're in bad situations, they ask, you know, they want,
yeah,
you know, they need, you know. I ask when I do my faith, when I'm praying, the only thing I ask for is guidance. Lay something in front of me in my path to where I know. And do I follow it all the time? No,
no,
I haven't. You know, and I've learned, and
right,
I'm a believer of karma. I felt like when I didn't follow what was told or the signs that were in front of me and I ignored them, I dealt with the consequences, you know, horribly. And but it's all a learning lesson. So when I do believe in that divine intervention. I've had weird situations in my life where I thought like I said, this, like how my story came about finding Muay Thai.
Right.
I did not know this was in the area. I did not know IKF existed. I didn't know about
Right.
I didn't know all these Muay Thai gyms were in North Carolina.
Right. Right.
One day, because during COVID, I was riding my bicycle. I got into bike riding heavy during that
Right.
time because the world was locked down, right? So
Sure.
I got into bike riding very heavy. Like, I had a group of friends. We were bike riding every day, through trails, all through Durham, Cary, Raleigh, whatever it may be. We're putting in 20 miles, 30 miles a day
Right.
on these
Right.
bicycles. So one day, boom, I caught a flat. I'm walking down the trail. I'm like, dang, I gotta go to a bike shop. Rode into a bike shop, met a great man, Coach Rob. And he seen my little jujitsu shirt, and he was like, hey, I see you kind of fit. Do you want to get? We have a Muay Thai gym. You familiar with Muay Thai? I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I'm familiar with Muay Thai. I was like, around here? He's just like, yeah, you used to come check us out. And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, definitely. So I went. I felt like that right there, because during that time, I went through a bad breakup with my ex-fiance. So again, the world, they were doing so many statistics on the news about people living at home, locked up in the house, working from home. I was one of those people who I was like, man, I cannot stay in the house. I got to do something,
Right.
because I was battling with myself.
Right.
I was dealing with guilt. I was dealing with all types of different. I was dealing with mixed emotions. People around during that time. My grandmother had passed. I think it was from COVID. We didn't know, because she made a promise to not do a biopsy, so we made
Got
that
it.
promise to her.
Got
So
it.
I was dealing with a lot of different emotions and figuring out.
Autopsy.
Oh yes, sir. Yep.
Autopsy.
I wasn't sure if I was going to keep my job,
Mm-hmm.
because the career I just got on, but they did bless me by keeping us around, and I'm grateful for that. But a lot of things where it could have went bad to worse, and when I felt like it was bad, when I felt challenged, I did talk to myself. I said, where can I find my sign? Where lay whatever path is in front of me, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's interacting with good people or separate myself from other friends, gaining new friends.
Right.
I've dealt through. These last 3 to 4 years been crazy. I've been, I went from having new friends to old friends. I went from, I was at one gym. Now I transitioned to another gym. I'm currently
Mm-hmm.
fighting out of Elevate.
Mm-hmm.
Great gym, good coaches. I don't burn bridges as well. So I give credit to where credit is due. I knew where I started at. I knew where I got it from. And I want to take that, have to take that talent elsewhere, pass it along to whoever else I could pass it
Right.
along. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right. Yeah, there's always, areas like that where, you have to have transitions in your life, and
mhm.
you can do it there's a respectful way to do it. Right, where you just move on and I'll shake hands and and just to make a new path. I mean, that is not the end of the, but it's interesting that you said, about the faith and how that is involved. It doesn't sound like you're specifically religious, more of a spiritual person,
Yes, sir.
and all that. And I think that's good too. I think whatever a person has that can make them better,
I
is
agree.
important. I don't care what name you want to call it. If
Exactly.
it makes you better, if it makes you stronger when you're weak,
Hmm.
and it makes you get through the darkness and to the light, whatever that is, whatever you want to call it, right? If it works for you, as long as you're not harming other people in that process, hey, run with it.
Yeah.
It's on you. Tell me your thoughts about fighting at Harris Casino. I don't know if you fought at a casino or a place like that before. What are your feelings about that?
I love it. I mean, I liked where you had it in Myrtle Beach, but it was fine. But like you said, you had a transition to. I felt like this is bigger and better. I was scrolling through and seeing the casino. I'm like, man, it's a beautiful
Oh,
attraction.
oh, top
Nice
notch.
transition from the beach to the mountains. I feel like this is, it's going to attract a lot of people, whether they're gambling, whether they're out having dinner with
Yeah.
their families at these restaurants. I feel like that's a bigger opportunity to showcase our skills as fighters. So it gives you more of a feel of like as a amateur fighter. I know I'm not pro yet.
Yeah.
I know I haven't reached that level, but
But
this is like feeling like it's 1 foot into the next level of being a
Right.
pro fighter, to where
Right.
you're fighting at these nice events, at these
Exactly.
nice venues. We're not, I've seen other places on Instagram or Google where other promoters have people fighting, God knows, in the backyard of
Yeah.
someone's auntie's
Yeah.
house, or
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
or some warehouse,
Right.
some dingy warehouse in a sketchy neighborhood somewhere
Right.
down the block.
Right.
This is it's well put. It has a professional setting. It gives us as fighters, more motivation to make sure, like, we gotta represent it right.
Right.
And
Right.
we can, it gives, again, it's a nice venue,
Right.
beautiful venue. Of course, my lady said, we said after the fight, I get this dub,
God.
we hitting
Yeah, yeah,
restaurants,
it's a pretty big place. I was out
Mhm.
there, early in the week, and I was trying to, and I'll let you kind of hang with me on this little part that I was going to talk about, where where I had a trainer who contacted me and flat out said, "Why don't you cancel the event?" I mean, some trainer outside of this area, they live like maybe 7 or 8 hours. They're coming in. Why don't you just cancel?
Mhm.
Right? I'm like, everybody over there, and I said it last week. The reason why I'm bringing it up again, I'll be very honest with you. First of all, I'm a human being, but this person insulted me. Right? They went off. They insulted me, saying that I was bringing people to an area that people are poor and destitute, and the whole place is destroyed. Now, you live in North Carolina, right? You know that is not true, right?
Mhm.
I drove all the way up there. I drove up there. It was a beautiful drive. Everything is fine. We recognize Asheville got hit a little bit hard, right? But in
Right.
Cherokee is normal. I mean, literally, it's
Right.
normal. And I was just, I'm upset by that. That number one, a trainer could be so disrespectful. And in my position, I try not to use the hammer, on
Sometimes,
people, but people need to respect positions and authority a little bit better. Why in the hell, excuse me, why in the heck, right, would I invite people to come to a dangerous situation if I thought it was in there? Why would the casino do that? Why would
right.
anybody be involved? And so I'm upset to some level here that someone said that. And then when I went up and I saw it, my wife and I drove up there, and I'm like, what are we talking about here?
Mhm.
Why we said so? So what are your thoughts when it comes to the levels of respect in our game? I mean, that's supposed to be the foundation
Right.
of what. Why is it that it seems like when it comes to politics or when it comes to other areas, like here you are, telling me that, oh, I don't care about fighters and all of that. I mean, and looking at my position compared to his, if you will, being very disrespectful. What do you think happens in between respect and disrespect that people feel like it's okay
Well,
in this society?
again, we're going back to, just some people are just flat out ignorant.
Yeah.
They don't take. I was one of those people. I was like, man, my lady was like, okay, do you think it's safe? Do you think? I was like, well, he's been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
Again, you've been at Myrtle Beach, and there was 1,000 times where there was always hurricane warnings,
Exactly.
floods at Myrtle Beach. So
Exactly.
this is not your first rodeo. So I said, let's just wait for the updates. Of course, me as a fighter, I'm cutting weight. I'm like, man, I really want to know before I really start getting in my
Of
blood.
course.
So, but you guys did keep did keep up with the updates, and updating us, the fighters, the trainers. Now, I know some people, of course, they may have their personal vendetta against you. For what reason? That's
Of
on
course.
them,
Of course.
and or some may feel like, okay, I feel like my fighter's not ready. Let me find an excuse. Who knows, right?
Exactly.
But I know
All
for a
that.
fact that, again, you're human. I wouldn't think light years that you would ever put anybody's life at risk to be caught in a flood, a storm, a avalanche, whatever you want to
Right.
name.
Yes.
I feel like some people, they jump the gun pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's just how society is now.
Yeah.
We're so, with everything so fast paced, and
Yeah.
everything just being bleeped to you right on your phone.
Right.
Some people, they carry that same trait with them in their everyday lives, where
Yeah.
they just feel like they have to instantly know something, or
Exactly.
without even looking. Like, all it takes is, okay, if you want to be on your phone so much, open up your maps, go to the maps,
Right.
see where highways are blocked.
Right.
We all have
Right.
Google Maps. We all have, ways and everything
Right.
like that. So that's what we did. We start checking to see if there had
Right.
to be alternate routes, or
Right.
and if it was, there were safe routes. And
Sure.
Now, for you, if the trainer and the fighter, if they decide not to for their own personal reasons, well, then by all means, that's
It is what
on
it
you.
is, but you
It
don't
is
have
what
to
it
make
is.
me out of the villain,
Yeah.
in the process of this and all, because the one thing I definitely care about, I care about people. Sometimes I don't understand how people could not like me anyway.
Well, again, I think it's
Because I really put it. Listen, let me just say this really quick, and I'll let you go too. It's easier for me to cancel. It's cheaper for me to cancel it. And guess what? Because of the storm, no big deal. The hotel, no charges, no nothing. I just don't get it why people can't appreciate the hard work by me, number one, and by all of my officials and everybody, excuse me, who's putting in the work to make this event happen. And then you have somebody curse me out and accusing me of doing something like that. It's just very frustrating. I thought I would just vent with you.
Yeah, no, but you see, that's like, and I ask you, got to ask them this, like, could you do it? I don't see you in this position. Or can you handle it? Because you're probably hearing, I've worked in like management and as well in the past. Right. And like right now, the job I'm in, I'm an account manager. So I'm constantly hearing from nurses, doctors, I have to be the one to resolve the issue. Right. If not, and I think what people may have an issue with you, and this is just my opinion. Yeah. I feel like you shoot it straight. And again, we're in a society now where a lot of stuff is pillow talked. A lot of stuff is watered down to where you can't shoot. You can't. You're a man of man. Right. You let them know what it is. You come from a different era where, hey, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you how it is. And if you got a problem with it, you could walk the other way, or we can handle it a different way. Yeah. But with society now, it's okay. It's a pat on the back. It's okay. You just express your feelings. Yeah, they're being coddled. And it's for adults too. I've seen adults, they're being coddled, and it's just how it is. Some people, if they can't deal with it, well, guess what? Go to another promotion, because I feel like you're still gonna keep having people, do, because if IKF wasn't successful, then there'll be no IKF. Right. It wouldn't be here. It would crash and burn, right?
You're absolutely right. And some people, they certainly have my personality. I'm not weak. I'm not a weak person. Nobody's going to ever look at Johnny Davis and say, oh, he's a pushover, right? Nobody's ever going to do that. So I think that sometimes rubs people the wrong way because they come up. But on the other hand, sometimes I might say things that I didn't mean, or didn't mean it a certain kind of way, and I have to apologize, and I'm man enough to do that, But on the other side of that, you're not going to come and talk too much crap to me and just to throw insults and all that without some consequences at some point, at the same time. So I try to balance that to be as fair as I can. Before we close down here, tell me, well, I want you to invite your family and friends to come out to the show and watch it on pay-per-view, and why that is important to you, Jonathan.
Oh yeah, it's always important. And again, I do want to add in. I'm glad that you have someone like Bronny and Anthony Bowie who's like who transition this stuff into. I like the Facebook, but I feel like it's time to hit the Instagram, the TikTok, because I feel like people are sleeping on this. I seen they made the transition to IKF, and Brian, who's been doing an amazing job.
Both of them doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, fantastic. And everybody else that I know, from the referees to the judges, to the people that are checking your hand wraps and gloves. Yes. Like, I see these people over and over again, and I love to see that, because it does seem like a family affair at the same time. I'm definitely, been on my Instagram promoting it. I've been getting tagged by the IKF page on Instagram. Any chance I get, I'm blasting it on my page, telling people to follow the link. Because I can't stand when people are like, how am I gonna watch the fight? I'm like, AKP Live, here's the link, follow the instructions.
That's so important.
That's it.
Well, Jonathan, what you're saying right there, and I'm sorry, please hold on to that subject, but what you're saying right there is so important. I try to tell people all the time, guys, you got to help us. This is not just us. It takes a lot to put on these shows, but as a fighter, you got mamas, brothers, sisters, aunts, friends, a bunch of family members that can watch you on pay-per-view or come out and buy a ticket. They're willing to support you. So we need that. So fighters, exactly what you're saying is exactly what he's done. I saw a newspaper article the other day that someone sent me from Chainsaw Davidson, where he's in the local newspaper. What if we had every fighter on this event, which is probably 100 and some fighters on this event, right? That
Yeah.
went to their local papers, right, or to the local TV station. Hey, I'm fighting in this event at Harris Casino. You
Right.
know how much advertising and publicity that would help us out
Exactly.
with? Why
Yeah.
are we not doing that?
Well, I guess for some, some are maybe selfish, or some may not possess that state of mind of. Again, with the past jobs, I know marketing. I'm into the marketing. I sell myself. So in order to sell myself, I got to sell the promotion I'm under. I work for a company. I work for a pharmaceutical called Biologics. I can't come to people and say, "Hey, I'm an account manager." They're gonna be like, "Okay, account manager for who?" And I'm like, "Oh, for Biologics, by
Right.
McKesson." Then they're like, "Oh, okay." Then they get familiar. I can't go around just saying, "Hey," because when I talk to other fighters, going to different gyms, and they're like, "Oh, I'm an amateur fighter. I'm a pro fighter." I ask them. I said, "Hey, what do you do? Like, which
Right.
promotion did you fight under?"
Right.
And they tell me, So anytime I go out anywhere and people ask me, what promotion you for? I was like, man, I started off at IKF, PKBs. That's my foundation.
Right.
And I felt like that's home. I don't ever want to burn that bridge with you or anybody else. I want to feel like I want to be that fighter to represent it. It's important to market. Some fighters, they just got to learn it's more, as you get deeper into it, it's more than just you. In order for you to, if you do want to exploit yourself the right way, you're gonna have to, you not only you're gonna have to put in the effort for training, nutrition, PT,
Right.
but you're gonna have to be a marketer as well. I feel like that's important.
part of it.
You gotta, if you can market yourself, then you can market the promotion you're
Right.
under. Because who's to say I go professional, you're gonna be the man to pay me one day.
Right.
So
That's
I
right.
want to, and I want to make sure like you remember that. I want to make sure that's instilled in that's the relationship we could build
Exactly
to where,
right.
okay, I remember this man did this PKB back in 2020. Now he's one of my professional fighters. I'm gonna make sure and guarantee I can find him these fights, and go, and then it becomes a cycle for the next one and the next one. Some got to understand it, and some of the gyms have to let them know that the owners of the gym, the coaches of the gym, they gotta like implement that in their fighters as well. Yeah, it's one side to fight, to train, and to have all that instilled in you. But it's another thing also, like at some point, things change. The owner might be gone. You might get a different. I've dealt with several different coaches, and in order for me to like. And certain coaches I dealt with that weren't familiar with IKF, they were like, "Oh, are you sure?" Of course, I'm sure. I had even going into when I got this call from Bowie, like, "Hey, I felt like I was an opportunity. I felt like, okay, here's my chance to represent not only myself, not only my gym, and the promotion I'm fighting under, and I want to make sure, even going into this." Having this live podcast, this is my first one. We've had our little interviews before, but again, it's just steps after steps. Now I'm here on the live with you, and this is memorable for me. To a lot of people, they may be like, this is just a small live. Well, this is something that I'm gonna share. I'm gonna blast. I'm gonna tell people, hey, watch, view, please share. And it's up to them whether they want to or not. But I know I put the effort in to exploiting it the right way. Even when I have people at my job who watch it on pay-per-view. People I didn't even know that was watching my fight.
Exactly.
I get random text messages from my last fight where I won the belt in the B class. Random people texting me, "Good stuff, bro. Like I love that elbow. And I'm like, you watched it?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you remember you sent the link? And I was like, oh, I did.
That's what we need.
Thanks.
That's what we need.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. They're like, yeah, man, I'm sorry I couldn't come out. The drive is far, but when people tell me, oh, I can't come to the fight, I was like, that's cool. We got a pay-per-view link.
Well, I just want to really thank you, man. You've been a great conversation and everything.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best with Mr. Cody there, because I know he's gonna bring his A game, which makes it exactly what we want. You saw those beautiful belts and everything that we had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were really, really nice. And I think it's going to be a great fight. I think that, people are going to really stand up. And that, for somebody said, that might be a showstopper, actually.
Yeah.
That particular fight and all of that. So we're going to put you towards the end.
I'm ready
something like that to make you guys go out there and everything. But you're a great conversationalist, man. I really wish you all the best and everything. If you guys want to come and check out this young man, you can check him out next Saturday at Harris Cherokee Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina. It's going to be on October 26th. Or you can check them out on pay-per-view, akplive.com. One more thing from you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just want to send a shout out to my gym Elevate, to the coaches there helping me prepare. I want to send another shout out to my CrossFit gym, Courage Fitness in downtown Durham. Awesome. They've been keeping me up with my strength and conditioning. Performax PT over in the Briar Creek area, Chapel Hill and Wake Forest. They've been handling my PT with any injuries. Of course, the IKF Association, you, Johnny Davis, Anthony Bowie, Bronny, everybody that's was involved. I appreciate it. Shout out
to TK and OP have been involved in that journey, because that's how I met you. So we want to add that.
I was going to get there. I got you. You know, shout out to United as well, you know, where I started at, you know, with TK, OP, everybody from there, Coach Rob, again, Anthony, before he transitioned to the referee, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah, all that. Well, man, I tell you what, you're a smart guy. And I think that it's going to be a great fight, and I'm looking forward to it, man. And I appreciate you giving me some time today. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Jonathan Donation. Talk to you later, sir.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
You take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this young man here is ready to go. He's excited about his fight. He's been working really hard. He's going to be taking on Mr. Cody Knoll next weekend, October 26th at Harris Cherokee Casino. You can get those tickets now at ikfightplatform.com or check it out on pay-per-view at akplive.com. All right, guys, you know, it's been a long day. I took an entire hour and spoke and talked and chatted with him. I really don't know what happened to Mr. Ben Wachacha. I really don't. I'll be very honest with you. I was looking forward to speaking with him. You know, he is very good fighter. You know, he's excited about fighting. I know his family's really excited. They're already, buying tickets. His mom, I think, has been in contact with me and everything. So they're definitely looking forward. He's part of the, I think, the actual tribe there. They call him the Warrior, Wolf Clan Warrior. I think that's the name of the actual tribe or something like that. He's well known in that area. Looking forward to having him on. And, you know, the thing about it was that I didn't know. He doesn't look like it, but he's like 6'5", right? He's a tall dude and everything and all. And so we're looking forward to having him on the card, and showcasing his skills there. And again, we got a nice article that came out, a nice ad that came out in a couple of papers in Bison and Silva this week. So heavy marketing going on in that area. Of course, on our Facebook pages, we have our live streaming ads and ticket ads and things like that. Thank you in advance for sharing those, if you will. If you can share those with people, we certainly would appreciate that, because all of that helps us put on this show. Next weekend, October 26th, Harris Casino, the IKF Fall Classic Super Fights starts on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Doors open at 9. Fights will start at 10. We're going to have our first show. It's going to go from 10 to 5. And then after that, we start out with our Super Fights starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Doors open at 6. That's next Saturday in Cherokee, North Carolina, Harris Cherokee Casino. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you so much for watching yet another edition of Johnny Davis Live. I want you to always respect each other. I can't even get it out. Always respect each other. This is Johnny Davis Live, and I'm checking out. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.